Warning. The following contains graphic depictions of violence against baby seals. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey guys, Teeple here. Today I got a double dose of the Ishizuchi for you. We saw Takagi on the screen there briefly. I got him at level 12, Jojo at 11, Cunningham 16. Not a typical build that you'd hopefully be seeing in tier 3 ship, but this is one I haven't played for a while. I remember it being pretty solid, and the other night I played a couple games into it. These are back-to-back games. The first one went okay, as you'll see here. And then I thought to myself, let's see if that was a fluke or if this thing's actually as good as I think it is. Right there on the bottom, you can see the firing angles, how steep you can see that ship. What I'm talking about is the diagram on the bottom there. What you can do, of course, if you have gun lock, preset 3 is how you use gun lock if you don't have it. You can preset those guns and then you can get them so they're all bright yellow ahead of time. And you can see right there how steep the angle of the ship is that allows you to fire. So you can basically be, fully angled at incoming fire and get all your guns to bear on target. So outstanding firing angles. I mean, these potentially could be the best firing angles on any battleship. It's certainly up there though. The gun accuracy, I mean, obviously my build's built for accuracy, but they're surprisingly pretty solid, especially compared to other tier 3 battleships. So this ship, I very rarely see it. I don't play a whole lot of tier 3, mostly 1 or 2 games on Sundays to get the promotion orders. But I very rarely see this thing out there. I don't know if people aren't interested in the Japanese battleship line or what the deal is. This ship is absolutely outstanding though. And new players is probably, one of the easier battleships to learn the game in. So if you're a new player, and I know there's a lot of new players out there right now, you should take a look at this line and see how you like this ship. In terms of battleships for new players, battleship lines, I think the US is probably the easiest. The Japanese I'd probably slot second. UK, you need to know a lot about shell mechanics and where to fire on targets. German battleships, yeah, they're tanky, they're maybe survivable, that would help new players out, but the gun accuracy is so atrocious that it might be frustrating. But, you can consider Japanese battleships. I don't, they tend to see these the least, but there's a number of them that I like quite a bit. I should point out there's going to be a few Higans in this episode, so, if you're sensitive ears, you might want to keep your finger on the old volume trigger. Shots away on the Danae, let's see what happens. He gone! We had a wicked salvo against one, I don't know if it was the Emily or what we hit earlier. Almost T-gon that guy, but the Danae, of course, probably the best ship to shoot at in the game, at least that you'd commonly see. Massive Citadel, not a problem hitting it there. T-22 slowing down, we're presuming he's trying to torp us. So I'm trying to get past this gap as quickly as possible here. We're going to operate under the assumption that those torps are coming. So the last thing I want to do is sit in that gap, but you can see here they are popping up now. And because we kind of anticipated that, we should dodge all of them or maybe get dinged by one. Yeah, we took one there, so that's unfortunate. Have to use the damage con to repair that flood. But that could have been a dev strike coming back to us, and that would have been a poor trade in that situation. So things are looking up. In terms of positioning in this game, you can see their team is mostly clumped up into a very small section of the map. They have control about 10% of the map. Now, we don't have great map coverage, but we are beginning to envelop them from the west and the north. So if you can create situations where your team can have, shots on 2 different sides of the group of ships, that's a massive advantage here. It's not going to pay off for these enemy players. Obviously, it's a low-tier game. Oh, he got out as well! It's low-tier game, so you can only expect so much from understanding map control and so on and so forth. But you see a lot of players up and down the tiers kind of conceding whole sections of the map. I mean, there's no point in grouping up together. You guys that have watched my videos a lot know that I'm constantly harping about that. Don't group up into big chunks. That's not a profitable play. And you see, most of these guys' attention's probably dealing with the guys to the north, northwest, who has been spotted for a while. And now here we're coming around, and the pain train is leaving the station. Yes, it's cruel and unusual. Yes, it's prohibited by the Eighth Amendment of the United States Constitution, but that's not going to stop us here. Doogie angled in. That's a very dangerous position for him. When they're angled like that, the shells are more likely to stick in the body of the ship. Those are basically max range shots, though, so they're dropping down, likely to overpen. But we did get a little bit of damage there. And here the Kaiser, he's not necessarily my main target. I want to, as a battleship, be shooting these cruisers if possible. They're easier to kill. Removing guns from the match is always a good thing. But the Kaiser's close enough that the guns on the Ishizuchi are going to be dealing some decent damage on him. Keep in mind the German battleship's very heavily armored in the sides. Ishizuchi, let me see here, that's low caliber guns, 254, so smallest at the tier. But if you're aiming properly, and you can see we're aiming about halfway up that battleship, don't want to hit him at the heavily armored deck armor, or the citadel armor at the bottom, at the waterline. But if we aim up there, we get some juicy shots. We're up to 4 kills here. And the game's obviously in the blue team's favor. But that's not going to stop us. So Doogie's now on the run. He's being shot at, driven out from his covered position earlier. He's still at about a 45-degree angle. Cheeky bastard shoots a shot at me. Let's just go ahead and see how we respond to that. Looks like we missed behind him. Doogie is a very fast ship. I think it's probably it's either the Emily or the Doogie. Probably the Emily, tier 4, the fastest cruiser in the game. But, those are all very quick targets. So, anyways, poorly aimed shot. He lived to fight another day briefly, but now he's attempting to slow down, and we recognize that and pepper him. 4 overpens, 5 overpens, whatever that says. Decent damage, though. Again, you should be expecting about 1,000 damage per overpen when you're firing from battleships. So, if the target has 20k and you get 5 overpens, that's still a quarter of their health, so we don't need to be afraid to shoot at these cruisers just because we get overpens. And there, of course, we're able to finish them off. Get the Kraken. We got one more New York coming in hot. Why not? Let's try and kill him. 5 kills is alright. 6 kills is better. Now, a New York, a Wyoming, New Mexico / Arizona, Colorado, they're all very heavily armored on the sides. But if you get these nose sections, they're very weakly armored. So that's what we're aiming for there. We can see the heading. We're trying to punch through that nose. Now keep in mind, these guns low caliber, so they're going to be having trouble dealing with angled battleships. Go ahead and dodge the torp while we're at it. But that's the aim point here. If that ship presents that angle to you, try and hit it in the nose. If you're close range, you can go right through that armor. Most battleships will have the gun caliber to just punch right through that. And there we get another shot at that nose section. Get another good chunk of damage there, Confederate. And now the secondaries are going off. Clear advantage on the HP on our favor. We're a tier 3, he's a tier 4, but I'm not really massively concerned about taking any damage from this guy. We're just trying to get the last kill. And you guys don't see me do this very often because normally I value my life. But we were going for the ram. I think the guns actually ended up getting them there. So we got 6 kills, 2 dev strikes on there. Like I mentioned earlier, that was kind of fun, beating the snot out of these little guys. Let's try it again. So immediately the next game, you can verify with the timestamps in the top left corner there if you don't believe me. But we played 2 back-to-back games. Well, spoiler alert, this one gets a Kraken. Well, I think the difference is in the amount of dev strikes. Again, sensitive ears. Keep an eye on things. You've been warned. So, if you've noticed here, these Japanese, at least in that first game, but as a whole, the line, more mobile, more fluid in terms of movement. I kind of visualize it as a parallel to the cruisers, which are kind of good at open water movement, kind of dodging, zigging, and zagging. You don't want to be dodging a lot in these battleships, of course, but I don't tend to like to sit there anchored down. They got the good mobility, good speed, and usually pretty favorable firing angles like we do on this ship. So, all of those combined just kind of lead you to the conclusion that, being on the move is usually a pretty good thing. Here we're on an archipelago game, domination mode. we're on the wing, the eastern wing above C. So we're going to cover our position, of course, and then we also have the coverage to keep an eye on B here. That guy either recognizes me or he's just a complete... Let me put it this way. He's not spamming the comm wheel, so he's not bothering me. But yeah, I got these ships spec'd out for range. Takagi slot 4 perk. I got him on the range. Could probably switch that over to the damage con one. Haven't looked at this build for a while. But the Japanese battleships tend to have really long range. Tend to be fairly inaccurate at long range, though. This one seems to be holding up alright. Kuma angled in. We wait for him to begin his turn. As anticipated. Shots away. He gone! Sorry, I get distracted by all the carnage. But it's kind of paradoxical. You got really kind of frustrating accuracy at long range, but you do have the ability there. But then as you close in, your guns, of course, get more accurate, and then the armor, you're susceptible to bigger strikes, and the armor's not huge on these. Carl? Nope. Okay, I can't. I can't remember exactly where the dev strikes all are, so I'm waiting with as much anticipation as you may be. But kind of my point is you want to look to close in. Now here we got a game with 1 destroyer on our team, no destroyers in their team. So we don't want to push massively aggressively forward because, of course, these cruisers all have torps too, or a lot of them do. Carl? He gone! So I mean... We still want to moderate it, but my philosophy when I'm playing these Japanese battleships is kind of have an eye towards moving forward when the situation dictates. It's not like the Iowa or the Jean Bart where you want to just find a spot on the moon, get your Hubble telescope out, and then just start launching nuclear projectiles as far away as possible. That's not how I like to play it. I like to move in. Wanted to dev strike that guy, but he lived to fight another day. What's that? Charlestown? I think that's... That came up in the screen or the stream this last weekend. Someone was talking about that ship. I didn't know what the hell it was. It looks like a St. Louis though. Basically, it must be a different version of the Tier 2. That guy I was thinking about blasting, but of course he got suicide rushed by a destroyer, and the destroyer got away with it. All typical Tier 3 behavior. Now we're gonna try another shot at this guy here. Pretty straightforward shots away. Not quite he gone, but we've removed half his health and 2 salvos, so this thing's definitely dangerous. There we took some shots. I'm trying to get into position to cover B here. I was hoping to be able to kill this guy before he actually captured it, but we do have a 3-ship lead due to myself and others' efforts. Ten Ryu, I think that's the Tier 2 Japanese. He's pointing right at us. Doesn't seem to bother me because he's gone as well. God damn, the entire team's gone. I mean, this, it is what it is. Yeah, we're beating up on what are hopefully new players. Maybe there was some other pirates running about, but it is kind of fun, take out your frustration with life and everything else on these poor bastards. And we're just going to keep launching shots. Why not? Charleston still, he's angled there. Didn't quite kill him, but we do have the high caliber already here, along with our 3 dev strikes and first blood medals. And, results may not be typical in these 2 games, but, in the last 2 games I've played in the ship, this is kind of how it goes. So now I can, if I was worried about the outcome here whatsoever, we'd be moving into B, but of course I got dollar signs or visions of baby seals more accurately in my eyes here. So I identify that these 2 over here are not being bothered by my team. The guy down south is maybe just a smidge closer, maybe not, but of course the rest of my team's probably going to be pursuing him. Most players, especially low tier players, they're just going to find the closest person to them and then focus on that target very compulsively until one or the other is dead. So, looking for damage, looking for back-to-back Krakens. I see a couple ships over here that are likely to be left alone, and we just ignore B. We do have a 2 cap advantage, so we're still getting more points per 5 seconds than they are. But I do want to point out, this is a Tier 3 game where I'm screwing off. not that's a bad play in my opinion. We should definitely capture B, especially being that close to it. Luckily, one of our teammates does move in there and kind of make up for our sloppy play or selfish play, however you want to define it. I guess selfish is probably the best way to put it. Kaiser coming in here. He's angled. We angle against him. But if he was going to stay at that steep angle for a long time, we'd probably switch over to HE if it was going to be a protracted kind of dueling battle. But of course, I keep the AP loaded just in case this Kuma popped up, which of course he does. That's going to be a bit of an issue for him since we seem to be having a hot hand at the RNG table tonight. And Kuma's dead. Is he dead? Oh, he's dead. Yeah, he's dead. But he didn't have enough HP to dev strike him, or otherwise that would have probably... Whether it would have been the 4th dev strike or not, we'll never know. But regardless, he's gone. And now the Kaiser, I don't know if he's ignoring me or what, but he's flat broadside, and I'm using, look at the diagram at the bottom, we're using that very steep, generous firing angle here. And that's not a fair fight. You know, I can just wiggle in, you know, angle directly at him. There's a spare set of torps, not an issue. But if I was really playing properly, I would wait till he fires, then fire my guns, and then immediately angle towards him so that by the time he gets on his reload, I'm already basically pointed dead at him. Wait for him to fire, then open up the firing angles, launch another salvo, rinse and repeat. That's just kind of how to beat up on Battleship players 101. This guy, though, he's just sitting there broadside, and of course we have, I think we had full HP going into this engagement. He's low, I'm trying to rush to get seal up the Kraken here, so... Can't get back-to-back Krakens if you don't get 5 kills, right? So that's the main goal here. We'd knock out his gun there. That was kind of the aim point there. If those the German battleships, what you want to do is look at them in the port, and you'll see this on the waterline. A lot of times it's the entirety of the side is covered with an extra thick plating, and you kind of want to aim around that either at the nose or above it or at the tail, whatever it is. But shooting under the turrets, usually a good chunk of HP sitting there, and you can knock out the turrets, of course, as well. So there's back-to-back Krakens. Yeah, we're beating up on new players. Big effing deal, right? But I thought it was fun, and we haven't looked at the Ishizuchi for a while, so that's going to do it for that one. I guess we got 122 that one. I think it was about 100K the first game, so pretty decent results with that ship. Again, very strong Tier 3 battleship. But that's going to do it for that one. If you did enjoy it, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. A lot of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. And we'll see y'all later. All right, peace.